Welcome to another episode of Inside the Artist with your host, John J. Rupert. Today is December 17, 2024, and backed by popular demand, because we always listen to what you say, we are here with our annual meeting with renowned poet and author Emiliano Martin as he recites his own original English and Spanish poetry. Mr. Martin, how are you today, sir?
Wonderful, John. Glad to see you.
As I mentioned, we always get emails, we get comments, and people want to hear, especially around the holidays. So would you be so kind, sir, to grace us with your beautiful original poetry?
Well, I'll be giving it a try. Of course, we are in what we call the Christmas season, and I'm going to start this recitation of my poetry with a poem that I have written a long time ago. I have a copy of my chapbook in which the poem One More Year appears on page 22. This is the page of the book, the front page of the, it's not a book, it's a chapbook, very little book. But anyway, believe it was on page 22. The poem appears, and I'll read it for you. One more year. And at last, we are in December. To forget, or to remember, all of the events we went through. One more year of reforms, ups and downs, substitutions, or unfulfilled resolutions that we thought of way back then. One more year, day by day, in the struggle for survival, fighting back every which way. Commitments and achievements, new approaches with success, sometimes bitter disappointments, drops of sweat, old ideas full of rust, roads we walked covered with dust. One more year of filling in page after page as we write our life's book. One page at a time. We have reached the final chapter, hoping that what you desire around Christmas may come true. I look forward to this season, and I know that you do too. Hope you have a Merry Christmas and the best to all of you.
Wonderful.
Thank
Now, I believe, in addition to it being published in your own book, hasn't that also been published in other places as well?
Yes, there is another. Originally, it was published in a local newspaper. It was called the Northeast Advisor, and the editor, who happened to be a nice fellow I met a long time ago, he was kind enough to put the little poem in one of the pages of the Advisor. Eventually, I wrote a book, well, actually a chapbook. I was beginning to publish poetry because it's a long story, but I've been writing and reciting poetry for a long time, almost all my life.
When was that book written?
This one was, oh God, probably in 1919. Shame on me because I should know these things. It's got to be here. Oh boy.
It's probably the 90s.
1998.
Oh, wow.
1998. Long time ago.
So I'm horrible at math. Like 26 years ago, isn't it?
Yeah. But the poem was written earlier than this publication because originally it was written, like I said, in the paper, in the local paper, and that was in 1994, 96.
Now, what was your inspiration in writing that poem?
Just trying to figure out what I did that particular year of my life. And I remember it was up and down, up and down. And oh my God, is this year going to end? And it finally ended on December the 31st, like every year. And I was lucky, I survived.
Because I know a lot of our viewers ask me questions. Oh, how does Mr. Martin get his inspiration? That's why I figured I'd ask you about that
this
poem.
was just going over my mind and everything that happened that particular year. And a lot of things happen in my life. In everybody's life, there are moments that you go up, you go down, you go steady. You never know what's going to happen in life. As the movie says, life is a box of chocolate.
Would you like to give us another one?
Absolutely. I'm going to read a poem on one of my chapbooks in the company of time.
Oh.
It is a book that I did publish. Oh God.
So why do they call that a chapbook? Do you know why?
I would say since for the size is small, so I guess somebody thought, well, a book is chopped in so many pages, and it becomes a chapbook. It is an American term, very often utilized for books of this caliber.
I thought it might be because it's only a few chapters in the book. It's a small book.
No, actually, this particular one contains about 49, 50 pages. 50 pages is a chapbook.
Wow.
And for poetry, it does work very nice because a lot of people don't have the time to spend reading a book of poetry very thick with a lot of pages. But a chapbook, it's
and it's something you can carry, like you said, something you can carry around easily.
Fold it, put it in your pocket.
Yeah, your pocket
and
or purse.
Usually they come out very cheap because it's flexible paper, and they're popular among poets. And that is how I started to publish my poetry.
Oh, nice.
Anyway, going back to the poem.
What is this title called?
On Christmas Eve. It is on page 26 of this book, and it's called On Christmas Eve. A dark blanket of sky lays upon another evening that surrenders to the night without putting up a fight or any signs of resistance. If I put aside the lights of color, joy, and goodwill that adhere to the houses throughout most of the township. Right outside, it feels like ice, and the frigid wind smacks the windows with the natural persistence of anyone who cannot wait anymore. Like the kids inside the house when looking under the Christmas tree for the last time on Christmas Eve.
Nice.
Everybody running around.
Yeah, that gives the words actually kind of give the picture of what's going on.
Okay. We can follow this opportunity to share my poetry with you all. And I'm going to read to you a poem in another one of my chapbooks, Sparkles of Eternity.
Another nice title.
That was, I had, in my opinion, I had nice pieces of poetry in this chapbook. It was published in 1994.
Oh, wow.
Incredibly.
How fast time flies.
Time has flown. Now we are, oh God,
yeah,
ending 2024. So we are talking about 30 years. But anyway, Sparkles of Eternity is on page 9. Let's see. It is not necessarily a Christmas poem, but it is a dear poem of mine because, just like you asked me earlier, how did you come out with the verses of a poem? Was I influenced by something or somebody? Well, this poem sort of tells the story. The answer to my prayer is the title. Sometimes I sit at the table thinking of something to write, wishing to put down on paper anything I possibly might. And I try, believe me, I try. I just try to write with pride, even though often the words, as they please, do come and go, leaving my mind nearly empty, making sense not anymore. It is then when I surrender as I pray to the good Lord, and the answer to my prayer brings me faith, vision, and hope.
Wow.
This is one of my moody poems in which I felt frustrated, not knowing what to write about or how to get started or continue or finishing up the poem. I didn't give up. I kept trying until I came up with these verses.
See, the one thing I miss, I don't know if you can relate to this, is I still write everything by hand on paper. Because I like the fact that, like you just mentioned, if I lose my thought or I change my mind, I can rip it up and discard it.
Sure.
If you type it on a computer, you can't do that. There's no much enjoyment in crippling up a piece of paper and just getting rid of it. The physical act of it. It's
In
fun.
my opinion, there is no joy typing in the computer.
Yeah.
In my opinion. I know, then I cannot say this to the young generation because they leave the computer, they leave the iPhones.
They're hearing this to say, what do you mean pen and paper?
I still use my pen and my piece of paper, and I try to write it down. And like you said, if I don't agree, I rip it off and I throw it away.
Yep.
In the computer, I go to the computer finally when I think I am sort of satisfied. And even though I am satisfied, I still change my mind. That happens very often.
But you can't throw the computer away.
I know. You can always delete.
Yeah, there you go.
So the writing process requires a lot of attention to detail, and a lot of reading over and over and over. And the advice most people use, write it down, put it aside, don't look at it for a week or so, or a month or whatever, and then take a look at it later on, and then you will find that, oh my God, I didn't want to say that. It happens, it's life.
And what we're going to do, folks, is like we always do every year. Mr. Martin, in addition to reading his poetry in English, he's now going to read us his original poetry in Spanish for his Spanish-speaking friends.
I will give it a try, of course. And since we are in the United States, there is a popular, very well-known Christmas carol that is half Spanish, half English. And everybody knows in America, Feliz Navidad.
Oh, yes.
Is a typical Christmas carol. It's something that Jose Feliciano was the author. And with simple phrases of greetings like Feliz Navidad, which means Merry Christmas, he made a song. And the music is so appealing and so magnetic to the voice that
festive,
people cannot get out of the song. Feliz Navidad, Feliz Navidad, Feliz. So, and everybody knows that.
Yeah.
People sing it in schools, in parties, and everywhere. And the song is popular in America, in North America, as well as it is in Central America and South America or Spain. Or
how popular was it in Spain when you were growing up?
It is popular. People know about it. And, Jose Feliciano. Jose Feliciano. In his days, he was a very popular individual. He has beautiful songs. And the versions he have done to some of the songs They're very unique. He has his own style.
Mhm.
When you listen to José Feliciano, you can tell that he is José Feliciano. He's not Engelbert Humperdinck,
Yeah.
or he's not Elvis Presley, or he is José Feliciano.
Yeah.
And he can sing in Spanish, and he can sing in English, and he's very good. I used to be a fan of him.
Yeah, it's a beautiful song you've been ready to give us.
So, going back to the song, are very simple. The lyrics are very simple. Feliz Navidad, Feliz Navidad, Feliz Navidad, próspero año y felicidad. I want to wish you a Merry Christmas. I want to wish you a Merry Christmas. I want to wish you a Merry Christmas from the bottom of my heart. Feliz Navidad, Feliz Navidad. And the song goes on and on and on, and people are happy, people clap, people dance. It is a good song,
Yeah.
a very simple set of lyrics. And all he says is Feliz Navidad, which is Merry Christmas. He repeats that phrase 3 times, and then he adds a prosperous new year and happiness. And then he switches to English. I want to wish you a Merry Christmas. I mean, with a very simple set of words,
Yeah.
he made a song that is popular all over the world. So, things happen in life, I guess, for a reason. And I want to wish you all a happy Merry Christmas. But before I do so, I want to read a poem in Spanish. A poem that I have written, I'm very proud of, is, the poem is maybe 32 years old, but I try to read it in front of an audience every Christmas season because it is, in my opinion, a classic in my own mind. I'm going to read to you La Primera Navidad, which means in English, the first nativity. The poem appears on page 100 of my book. It is called Apuntes de España en verso. And the translation of this title in English, it would be something like notes for my verse in Spanish. La primera Navidad. El camino fue muy largo y la noche estaba fría. Sentían los dos cansancio de caminar todo el día. Recorrieron todo el pueblo. Buscaron una posada. Llamaron a muchas puertas y nadie les dio morada. María desesperaba. José estaba preocupado, pues presentía en su esposa que el momento había llegado. En un recodo del pueblo, muy lejos de la pradera, hecha por varios pastores, vieron lucir una hoguera. Se acercaron presurosos. María desvanecía. Los pastores deseosos ayuda les ofrecían. Prepararon un camastro, trasladáronse a una gruta, colocaron unas pajas, trajeron buey y una mula. En la gruta había silencio. Un niño al mundo venía, estrellas había en el cielo y en la atmósfera alegría. Ocurrió justo el milagro. Era hacia la medianoche cuando el niño vino al mundo y envolvieron a su cuerpo en un pañalito blanco. Al calor del buey y la mula, José cuidaba a María. El niño sobre unas pajas les miraba y sonreía. Fuera, Encima de la gruta colgaba una estrella grande, recién caída del cielo y hermosa como un diamante. Los pastores daban gritos, llamaban a otros vecinos que se acercaban curiosos con regalos y canciones. Trajeron comida y vino. Daban saltos de alegría por aquel recién nacido que en el pesebre dormía. Un ángel bajó a la gruta y a los pastores decía: Gloria a Dios en las alturas, en la tierra paz, a los hombres de buena voluntad. Esa fue una noche buena, la primera Navidad en que los hombres se unieron y al niño Jesús le dieron nacimiento en el portal.
Nice.
Thank you. I hope the Spanish-speaking audience could appreciate my recitation of one of my poems.
Do you have another Spanish one you'd like to read for us?
I have a lot. I'm going to do one last one. Let me see if I can find it. It is on page 104 of the same book I was talking about. And it is a poem I call De Fiestas. And of course, in America, everybody knows the word fiesta. It's a festivity, which is what we are having right now. The festivities of Christmas coming up very soon, in a couple of days,
Yeah.
practically.
Oh, next week.
De Fiestas is the poem. Nada más llegar diciembre, en la plaza de mi pueblo siempre hay puestos, tenderetes adornados de campanas, colgatinas, colorido, música en el aire y ruido, sobre todo mucho ruido. Ruido de gentes alegres que pasean con las ganas de festejar a su niño. Ese niño aún dormido a quien llaman Rey de Reyes y en el portal ha nacido. My dear friends, Merry Christmas to all of you, Feliz Navidad, and John, thank you for giving me an opportunity to do this kind of a job.
Mr. Martin, before we go, we always want to let our listeners, because some people listen to it, and our viewers know where we can find your books at. So let us know.
My books. In the internet, it can be found. If you check my name, Emiliano Martin, and any name of my books, I will appear in many sites. Amazon has most 80% of my books are on Amazon. They can be also ordered in Barnes & Noble. And of course, the publisher Lulu.com offers them through the internet. Unfortunately, when you order books on internet, books or anything you order, you have to pay for the mail, unless you are a member of a particular company that's different, and I cannot help you there. But there is a cost for the mailing. The convenience of somebody knocking at the door and dropping the box with a book. You don't have to go out and drive a car or fight the crowds in the stores. Everybody's different. Everybody has an opinion of if this is a scam. It is what it is. You order the book through the internet and you get the book back in your place.
In addition to ordering stuff on the book, we also want to let our viewers know that you have a very popular podcast. So let us know about that.
I do. Yes, I do. For the last 2 years, I've been broadcasting my poetry as well as lyrics from popular songs that everybody knows. And my podcast appears on Tuesdays, Thursday, and Saturday. Sometimes on Sunday, depending on my mood. but at least 3 times a week I will appear. The podcast company is called Evox, but I also appear in Apple Podcast, as well as 7 other companies that...
And again, they would just type in your name, Emiliano Martin.
You type my name, Emiliano Martin, Poetry Podcast, something like that, and I will appear. Everything is in the internet these days.
Again, Mr. Martin, we here at Inside the Artist would like to thank you for your time and sharing your wonderful art with us. We wish you a Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year, Feliz Navidad, and we'll see you again.
Thank you.